911, Select Court.
My daughter passed away in the night.
What's going on? How old is she?
My daughter passed away.
How old?
She's 4.
All right, we'll be right there.
The danger of prescribing untested drugs to young children grabbed national attention a year ago. Rebecca Riley of Hull, Massachusetts, had been diagnosed with bipolar and was taking a mixture of psychiatric medications. Frontline was visiting the Kuntz family when they learned of the case.
We went to talk to one of the leading proponents of the diagnosis of bipolar disorder in children. He is Dr. Joseph Biederman.
Now you're saying up to 1 million children are running around with this.
Correct. The autopsy revealed that she had died from an overdose of psychiatric drugs.
The Kuntzes worried that DJ was on a similar regimen of psychiatric drugs, including the sedative clonidine.
Terrified me,
She was just 4 years old.
especially to hear that there was enough clonidine in her system alone to kill her.
This is what her preschool teacher said. She was like a floppy doll, so tired she had to be helped off the bus.
I mean, to think that there's something on my counter that he takes on a daily basis, that the little girl had so much in her system that alone could have been the cause of her death, terrified me.
I mean, neither one of us are supporters of medicating our kids. You know, that's not why we do this. We do it because we've discussed it with the doctor, and it seems to work.
The Kuntzes went back to Dr. Bacon's office to see if they could lower DJ's medications.
So how are you guys doing?
Good. Good.
Have things been going pretty well? Good.
I watched 60 Minutes, and it made me think and wonder, is there anything not medication related that we need to be doing for DJ? I mean, is there any type of classes? Is he too young for therapy? I mean, would any of that benefit him along with that medication?
At this point, I think it's like 99% medication. Plus, it's harder for him to make use of therapy and to make use of any behavioral program if he's still got a lot of symptoms that he really can't control, even if he tried.
Okay. I just want to make sure that we're doing absolutely everything that we possibly can for him, so.
Yeah. How are things going for him in school?
He likes it once he gets there. The anxiety getting there it's a 2-hour battle of crying and please don't make me go to school, let me stay home. And
wow.
But as soon as we walk in the door, he hangs his backpack up and he's fine the rest of the day.
Okay. Sometimes also what we'll do is try just a little bit of an anti-anxiety medication like in the morning, something like Xanax. And again, it's a trade-off, you know, do you want to see if that will work or do you want to try and coax him into it?
Suffer through for a little bit longer before we add another one. Because once he gets there, he's okay.
And my hope would be as we go up on the trileptal, that anxiety will go down quite a bit. And I've seen that happen. So, but let me write to that prescription for the Focalin, and then we'll go from there.
DJ left Dr. Bacon's office with a recommendation to up his dose of trileptal.
This is my distinct pleasure this morning to introduce Dr. Joseph Biederman.
Thank you very much.
Many psychiatrists continue to follow the lead of Dr. Biederman. Frontline wanted to speak to him, but he has stopped talking to the media.
We published a paper in the American Journal of Psychiatry examining ADHD with or without bipolar disease. And
his office recommended that we speak instead to Dr. Chang at Stanford.
I'm really excited about medications. People are so concerned about the side effects that they have on children. But one thing that people often overlook are the possible beneficial side effects, if you will. How did the movie make you feel when you saw that?
Dr. Chang himself has lately been pushing one of the more provocative ideas in child psychiatry.
How about like the thoughts in your head and things like that?
They race through. He raced through so fast I can't even think of it.
He believes he can prevent bipolar disorder by identifying and medicating children at risk before they develop full-blown symptoms.
It depends on the day. Sometimes it can take 3 hours. Sometimes it can just be half an hour.
Okay. And the theory is that if you get in early, before the first full mood episode, before too much has kindled in the brain, then perhaps we could delay the onset to full mania. And if that's the case, perhaps finding the right medication early on can protect the brain so that these children never do progress to full bipolar disorder.
Go ahead and talk to me. What's going on?
Bipolar is known to run in families. In order to identify these kids early on, Dr. Chang is relying on MRIs.
We're going to get started now. All right, squeeze the ball if you're ready. All right, great.
He's zeroed in on a cluster of neurons located deep within the brain called the amygdala. The amygdala is thought to store a person's emotional memory.
What we've been finding is that in kids with bipolar disorder, these amygdala are significantly decreased in volume compared to healthy kids. They're smaller. Doesn't mean yet that we can use it to diagnose bipolar, but it gives us a pretty good head start in saying, okay, you know what, this is a very important region. Why is it smaller? Let's find out. Let's investigate it further.
Dr. Chang is also researching how the brain responds to antipsychotic medications.
On the use of atypical antipsychotics in pediatric bipolar disorder.
At this year's annual convention of child psychiatrists, he presented the results of 3 new studies on antipsychotics.
This is a very exciting area. As you
Dr.
heard.
Chang says the early results are encouraging.
5 years ago, we would have practically no data to give you. We now have reliable, large-scale trials to be able to present to you, and some of these are hot off the press.
But critics point out that researchers who advocate the use of psychiatric medications, like Chang and Biederman, receive enormous support from drug companies. And they believe that these industry-funded studies unduly influence doctors' decisions.
To have these very robust response rates.
Whenever research is funded by industry, unfortunately the research is always going to be suspect. And there's no question that from the standpoint of any psychiatrist looking around at the courses that are being offered, going to the large meetings, reading the journals, that just about everything bears the stamp of drug industry funding and drug industry influence. And it is really one field where it's extremely hard to know who you can trust and who you can't trust.
Very exciting as well as our disclosures. And as you can see here, I have various relationships with these companies. I think it is an uneasy partnership. But I think that without them, where would we be now? We wouldn't have any of these studies now. Parts of this talk.
And yet you call it an uneasy relationship.
It is uneasy because there is still that potential conflict of interest and definitely that perceived conflict. Even if there isn't a conflict of interest, meaning that, hey, we're going to do our own studies ethically, and we do. But somebody reading the study may say, oh, they received funding from this pharmaceutical company to do the study, therefore the results may be biased. So that is a problem.